Now, the European Parliament is set to vote on banning all forms of pornography in the media, including the internet. The aim is to help eliminate gender stereotypes that debase women's privacy. Campaigners fear it will go much further. Let's now cross to Brussels to our correspondent, Tessa Arcilia, who's got all the very latest for us. So, Tessa, tell us, what exactly are the worries about this proposal?
Well, first of all, the proposal is aiming to eliminate gender stereotypes, and you'd be hard-pressed to find an MEP here who wouldn't agree that this is a noble undertaking. However, the criticism is coming from civil liberties fighters, those campaigning for freedom of speech and expression, as well as some politicians, because they see it as an infringement of sorts. One of the strongest voices coming from Rick Falkvinch, the founder of the Swedish Pirate Party. Here's what he said on his blog. He says, "This horrendous attack on our fundamental freedoms of speech and expression needs action now." Well, basically what the critics are saying is that in this proposal, it is quite lengthy. There are a lot of words there that are used that are quite vague and broad, such as the term media, and therefore it could be abused. Another MEP from the Pirate Party as well, Christian Engström, said that this may eventually include all internet-related activities such as private emails or even social networks, and that's where the worry lies, really. And there's also specific wording in the proposal that calls for the necessity of involving action in the digital field. And the fact that these cannot be defined specifically is really what worries him, as this may be open to abuse.
All right, and how binding would today's vote be if it's passed?
Well, the thing is, this is really just the first step. It's an initiative. There's still going to be a long process of debating it, of arguing, of approving. So this is what the critics are saying, that although this may not be legally binding at this point, what happens is it could be shaping the thinking in the EU with regards to matters of dealing with an issue versus infringing on certain freedoms, not just within the EU, but also in Western Europe in general. You have Iceland, for example, who's already made headlines recently with some of its radical debates going on, trying to censor the internet. Now, this is really a sensitive topic because on the one hand, they're saying that there is really a fundamental and justified need to address those challenges facing women's rights and role in society and in the EU. On the other hand, the manner in which control may be imposed, how broad or encompassing these powers may be, is really what's worrying those campaigning for freedom of the internet, of speech and of expression.
And finally, is it known who will decide what to block?
Well, really, if you look at the proposal, the wordings there, there's no specific name or country given there, but they do want to form sort of a sex censor monitoring regulatory body, which will be kind of a big institution. This is what they would like to do. They're calling for that. And let me quote from the statement. It calls on the member states to establish independent regulation bodies with the aim of controlling the media and advertising industry, and a mandate to impose effective sanctions on companies. So essentially, again, what critics would look at here is the fact that there's a control of the media that's not specified and not given details on what the powers, to what extent those powers will extend, and perhaps some worry that it would give policing powers to those companies when sanctions are imposed on them, when they're seen to be violating any EU laws.
All right, Tessa, thanks very much indeed for bringing us this update. Our correspondent, Tessa Arcilia. Well, Fabio Reinhardt from the Pirate Party in Berlin's state parliament sees the resolution as another excuse for politicians to try and control the web.
The initiative undertaken right now is not legally binding, but it's shaping the position of the European Union for the next years toward the internet. And I think it's very important to defend internet freedom and citizen right on every step of the legislative process in Brussels and in Strasbourg. Right now it's maybe just an initiative, and the next step may be a different kind of proposal. And I think it's very important that we take a firm step and say that we don't want to have any internet censorship, even if the idea behind it is a very noble idea. I think that especially from the executive branch, so on the European Union, I think they are somehow threatened by the internet. I think they it's very easy to control the TV and some other channels, but it's very difficult to control what's going on the internet. Politicians on all levels are trying to find out if there's a new or different ways to control what's going on the internet and control the public and free opinion there.